The Failing Writers podcast, despite being a multi-award-winning show with a backlist of incredible guests, sometimes finds it hard to persuade new listeners to tune in. Is this because people misinterpret the title and assume the word failing applies to the people listening? Surely not. Or is it because people are suspicious of writers who admit to failing? Perhaps they think the hosts will somehow infect them and henceforth their words will wither on the page. Or perhaps it's because people think it's a writer's podcast that fails to deliver fascinating nuggets, invaluable insights and hilarious entertainment simultaneously. We just don't know. Suffice to say, it does a lovely job of keeping out all the stuck-up who don't have a sense of humour, which is why you lot are all so bloody lovely. Welcome to the Failing Writers podcast.
Oh, I've got a thing to talk about before we dive into the rich, meaty source of the episode, Tommy.
Go on then, what have you got?
Have you, by any chance, heard about the short story that won the Commonwealth Prize from the Caribbean and allegedly might have been written by AI?
A little bit, yeah. Not a lot of details on it.
It's called The Serpent in the Grove. It's by a chap called Jamir Nazir, who is a 61-year-old from Trinidad and Tobago, who doesn't appear to have had much published, apparently. But yeah, there were several people who commented after it was published by Granta that it seemed suspiciously AI written. So I read it because I was really interested in what specifically people thought kind of was deemed dodgy.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question to you.
And I'll be totally honest, I didn't really spot anything. It seemed kind of too well put together to be AI to be me. But I know I'm kind of probably a long way behind in terms of where AI is now, because I just don't really use it very often. In fact, at all, if I'm being totally honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seemed too sort of specifically Caribbean in its lexicon as well. But apparently, in the article I read, there were a litany of not X but Y sentences.
Right, yeah, that's a big one. That's a big one for AI.
You see, I'd not come across that.
It's not just such and such.
Right.
It's such and such.
Well, yeah, there was a few of them. I'm not going to deny it. And also, apparently, words such as delve is a big red flag.
Yeah, I've heard a few of these things where it's like,
So
if you're using a word that someone who's relatively well educated is using, then you're AI.
Yeah, what's wrong with delve?
Unfortunately, the whole thing, though, the problem with the whole thing is that obviously these large language models are fed on all the writing that they've decided it was fine to steal.
Yeah.
Therefore, that's what you're going to get. It's cutting and pasting the sort of thing you would expect, and it will use stuff that gets used a lot will get used because that's used a lot and that's what it's seen. But yeah. I mean,
so what makes it? I mean, what makes delve a problem? Do you know what I mean? It's interesting, isn't it, that the algorithm specifically chooses delve a lot, which it obviously does. Otherwise, it wouldn't be mentioned. But I just found that really fascinating. But also a profusion of M dashes, which I've heard before. Is a common one. But also apparently vague, soft intensifiers such as quietly powerful and deeply transformative.
Yeah, no, it likes them. It likes them, especially if there's slightly oxymoronic kind of...
Yeah. But so it was run through Pangram, which is a sort of AI detector thing, and it said the work was 100% AI generated.
But then those don't work either.
Well,
those don't work.
That was my next
question. That's the literal equivalent of a lie detector.
Yeah, well,
a polygraph. It does not.
Is it that? Does it get things that wrong?
Yeah.
But honestly, having read that, I'm thinking we're all screwed. I mean, there's some lovely language in it. Have a read of it, Tommy, at some point when you get a chance.
I'm just going to run it. I'm going to just run it through AI, and then that can give me a summary.
Give you a summary.
Yeah. So I don't have to read the whole thing. Don't want to delve into that, do I?
No, don't be daft. I suppose the one thing was I could sort of see how people might think it was, like as a piece of writing, it was maybe like a little bit over-pleased with itself. Do you know what I mean? It was like a little bit clever. Why is it one then? Why is it one, if that's the case? I don't
That's not
know.
a good thing, is it?
It's not, because that sort of writing almost like holds you at bay, doesn't it? It's almost distracting. But part of the problem, obviously, is the prize is like £2,500.
Yeah.
And you think maybe that's part of the problem. Like, should prizes now be something other than money, like a writing scholarship?
Robots love money, don't they? That's the problem.
They do.
Well-known
they really
fact.
bloody do. But yeah, like, I don't know. Yeah, like a scholarship or a chance to work I don't know, with an editor or an agent or your work published in something. I don't know. It's like, I know we all need money to get by, especially writers, to be fair, but it just seems a bit too tempting if it's like straight up cash.
Unfortunately, some questions don't really have an answer, do they? The whole AI thing, that you want some kind of like, haha, right, well, this. But there isn't, it's too muddy and too much stuff. Maybe what they should do. You ever heard of like, there's like some police forces that will send out letters saying you've won some kind of lottery prize and to turn up and collect it. And then when they turn up, it's all the people they want to arrest that have not been able to get hold of, and they just arrest them en masse. Maybe we should do that for AI. So, like when we do our next competition, we'll say, it's just don't enter this one, but we'll make the prize like a bucket of oil or something like that, something that AI robots would really want. It's like some really, second prize is some nuts and bolts, or that kind of thing. Because that's what I think. Is that what robots eat these days? I don't know.
I think that's what. Yeah.
And then we'll know. Because only robots will.
That's brilliant.
Enter.
We'll thought about this, haven't you?
No, it's nice of you to bring that up at the start of the episode, John. Because it's certainly not massively depressing, is it?
No, it's not at all.
Of how AI is just slicing through all the creative arts and careers that can exist from everything, writing, drawing, speaking. Get rid of it. Let the robots do it. Yeah.
Can we just? There's got to be a way of just turning it off, isn't there?
All we can hope is that it means that at some point it actually drives us away from social media, because what's the point when you've no idea? If literally everything, every video, every comment, every picture isn't real, so that there's no value then. There's no human contact. So it's just you're just browsing slop.
Everyone just comes offline and just interacts in real life, because that is the only way of being sure.
Just go back. It's just like it's 1988. That's where we need to get back to, isn't it? That kind of era.
Yeah.
So, well, I don't know.
Rotary phones. That's what we need. The
other day there was the thing about AI and podcasts, where there's just complete AI. Probably shouldn't tell people this, because they'll be like, "Oh, that sounds a lot better than these humans," and they'll be off like a shot. So you just put in. So you thought, oh well, you want a show like ours? You just put in 2 middle-aged rambling idiots, and it would just come up with stuff.
Make it funnier and better than this one.
Yeah,
can't be that hard, can it?
Wow. Okay. Well, that's depressing.
Should we move swiftly on?
Fighting against AI, John. If people want to literally see us in the flesh, so they know we're real, how can people do that?
Well, we are doing a live podcast in real life in Alton, Hampshire, on the 6th of July. And joining us will be the very real and very special guest, Claire Fuller. So come and see us. Just Google Alton Arts Festival for tickets. We'll also leave a link in the show notes, obviously.
Yeah, and there's a link on our website as well. Just click on that, get your tickets. We'd love to see you. And it's strictly no robots at that event.
Will not be allowed. Although it may be difficult to tell, Tommy.
I don't know, maybe there'll be some like cyborg humanoids.
We'll do your thing. We'll do your trick, Tommy. We'll offer people champagne or oil as they come in.
Yes, that will get all of them. Yeah.
They can siphon off the AI folk.
Yeah, we'd love to see you, so do get your tickets for that. It would be really embarrassing if there's only like 3 people there. That's probably the main reason that we really, really need you to buy a ticket, please. Thank you, please. John, that's all miserable, isn't it? Not us doing a live event.
No, that's nice. That's a nice thing, Tommy.
That's nice. I tell you what will cheer people up is our chat with Ashley Storrie that we've got.
It bloody will. Hey? Yeah, it really will. Today we have, well, as you have just said, Ashley Storrie, the magnificent stand-up comedian, fan fiction writer, sitcom writer and star of BBC's Dinosaur, and also daughter of Janey Godley, which many of you, I'm sure, will have come across because of her stand-up comedy, or maybe for her spoof videos, or possibly some people might remember her for
holding up the sign about Donald Trump. I think is a lot of it, isn't it?
That's one of the most famous moments. Yes, she was quite a character.
Yeah.
Sadly died of ovarian cancer like only a couple of years ago, but a massive personality. But I bring her up because we do talk about her in this chat. So that's a bit of background. But anyway, let's get on with this thing because, as you say, this is an absolute corker. Ashley Storrie, welcome to the Failing Writers podcast. I think most people who write feel like they're failing for at least like a chunk of their careers. How long did you feel like a failing writer before you realised you weren't?
I'm going to be straight up honest with you. Writing was my hobby, and I didn't think I was failing because I was getting hits on Archive of Our Own fan fiction. So
That's amazing.
I felt like I was killing it because it was like knitting for me.
Right. Oh, that's amazing. So when you say you're getting hits, what are we talking? What, numbers wise? And how old were you at the time?
I've been writing fan fiction since I was 16, maybe 15. I've got stories that have like hundreds of thousands of hits. I still get comments on them. I wrote them years ago, and I sit in my room tittering going, hee, nobody knows it's me.
What was your pseudonym?
I'm not telling you that.
Oh, I see, because of course it's still there, still out there.
Yeah.
In fairness, you have read it out loud now on a lot of social media. So
read
quite easy to...
one of them out. No,
Oh, okay.
That was my old account.
Oh,
that account is
okay.
dead now. I killed that account when I read it online because straight away when I was doing a live stream reading my fan fiction for charity, which was very kind and good of me to do, a humiliation ritual for the people of the Carers Trust, people instantly found it and were like reading my little author notes and my little description of myself, and it was very horrible.
Oh, wow.
How did you get into writing fan fiction? What's the thought process? Is it that you just want more of that universe? Or is it that you think you could do better? Or how does it start?
I think it was just like, I've always loved fan culture. I think that's such a strange thing to enjoy. But like, I don't really like football, but I love football fans. And I love listening to football podcasts and reading about football drama. But I wouldn't watch a match. I went to see Scotland play Japan, and I was so bored for the entire time. Yeah, so I was really into the fan sphere of just like Star Trek and Harry Potter and Terry Pratchett, and then I found fan fiction, and then once I knew that was something you were allowed to do, I was like, oh, I'm going to do that. That sounds like fun, because I was always making up little stories in my head, and I didn't know that there was anywhere you could put them down and share them with people.
So would you do that for all kinds of different stuff then? You didn't have just a thing that you wrote fan fiction for, you just watch something on TV and think, oh, I'll write another episode of that.
Yeah, I used to write spec episodes. I didn't know that's what I was doing, but I would write spec episodes of the show Bones.
Oh, right, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
With David Boreanaz.
Yeah.
And I would just write whole, like, crimes. I would just sit and really work out, what's a fun crime that Dr. Temperance Brennan can solve.
That's amazing.
Wow.
For those listeners who might not have seen it, could you explain what you do with Hippogriff Fever, what you've been posting?
Yeah, sure. Hippogriff Fever was a fan fiction I wrote when I was very young that was deeply impacted by the foot and mouth outbreak. I had a lot of fear about that when I was a little girl, and it never left me. And I channeled that into Harry Potter fan fiction. But I did a live stream with my mum where I read the whole thing to her. She didn't know any of the stuff I was writing in my room. And I've been posting little clips of that reading on my Instagram, which is kind of nice because I'm in a TV show called Dinosaur, and my character in Dinosaur, she writes erotic fiction that her family find and read. So it was kind of like two worlds colliding.
It's completely delightful as well. And especially just seeing your mom like chuckling away. It's mostly just a huge chuckle fest.
George looked at her and smiled. He felt very manly all of a sudden. Now that the timid girl stood in front of him, he put one of his strong arms around Hermione's waist and pulled her into him with a slight tug. As her body came to collide with his, she placed her hands on his strong chest. Not knowing exactly what she was doing, she ran her hands up his chest until she reached where his neck was, and then she stopped and slid them behind, locking her fingers together at the nape.
The nape.
George placed a hand on either one of Hermione's hips, which still covered by his large red jumper. She sucked in her breath.
Why
she
was she
sucked in her
putting it
breath?
down?
Mum, it's the dirty bit, so please just let me get through it and don't interrupt me. She sucked in her breath as she slowly pulled herself up on her tiptoes, and George bent slightly as their faces met. They stared into each other's eyes, almost to reassure each other. Mutually, they came together. Mutually, they came together and their lips met softly. They kissed, still testing the waters. But the water testing ended fairly soon as George lunged and Hermione jumped as if in one acrobatic movement. Hermione was in George's arms, her legs wrapped around his waist. George was slightly bent forward, cradling Hermione in strong arms. As George straightened, he slid his hands further down Hermione's back towards her derriere, where he suddenly... Derriere! When he suddenly realised that Hermione was in lack of underwear.
Dirty bastards!
He pulled away slightly to look at Hermione's face. Why aren't you wearing pants? He asked, genuinely curious. I was too busy trying to save you. I just pulled this jumper on, she stated honestly, shrugging her shoulders. George pulled her back slightly to get a better look at her. The large old jumper was hanging off one shoulder and her wet hair was around her face. You look amazing, George said quietly, in awe of the woman who was now in his arms. Thank you. Was all Thank you. Was all she managed to blurt out before she lunged forward.
This finally better be good.
To kiss him again. George was taken aback slightly by Hermione's sudden forwardness. She moved one of his hands.
This is me knickers on!
Couldn't you just let me get through this? This is really hard. She moved one of his hands to where her bed was to indicate him to move towards it. She didn't make it easy for him, as she wouldn't stop kissing him though most of her weight was on her own hips and thighs as she held herself up with her legs. George noticed this when Hermione moved his other arm from around her waist to over her shoulder. He was shocked at her strength, though he enjoyed the tight pressure around his waist. Shut up.
It's interesting, isn't the fan fiction thing? So you're saying you just wanted to kind of get involved in that whole world in a way. It wasn't so much just about the writing or the wish fulfillment?
Yeah, it was a community, but also I just loved imagining, like, I never played without purpose. There was always a story and a story to fulfill. I used to film these little stop motion animations when I was like 6 on this camera that my parents had got off of shoplifters, and it was huge, and it was like this massive Canon camera, and I would film stop motion with my Playmobiles, and it was all like World War II.
World War II fan fiction.
The darker end of...
Yeah. And then when I was older, my mum was a stand-up comedian, and she'd invite comedians over to the house, and they would watch these stop-motion World War II animations that I had made, and they would do voiceovers and laugh at me.
But that must have been quite nice as well.
No, it was horrific. They weren't taking it seriously at all. Like, this is serious stuff. This is
This is the horror of war.
Yeah.
In animation.
I had been reading The Silver Sword a lot when I was very young, which was about children escaping from war-torn Poland, and it was very influential in my Playmobil films. And Johnny Vegas and my mum making fun of that wasn't nice.
No, I can see that now. I can see that.
Yeah, now you pin that picture, you can see how it might be. Yeah.
And do you read fan fiction as well? Is it a sort of two-way street?
100%. I love it. I think it's so lovely that there is a whole world of aspiring writers, and they're not doing it for money, and they're not doing it for clout, and you don't know who most of these people are, and it's just people want to share their creativity or their imagination, and it's such a lovely space, and it's such a nice space to just practice and feel, because I think anything sort of performance or art, the hardest part is showing it.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that's at such a nice place. If you feel like you've got a book in you, but you're scared, it's a nice place to like just start and play and delete it if you don't like it. I mean, so much of the industry is now built on fan fiction. The amount of films that are coming from like Harry Styles Wattpad fan fictions. There's that Anne Hathaway film that was the rom-com that was a straight up just Harry Styles fan fiction. They just sold a Harry Potter fan fiction to a filmmaker for like a 7-figure deal.
That's right, yeah. All the young dudes. Yeah. 7 figures, that's nuts.
Oh, no, I wasn't even talking about all the young dudes. I was talking about Manacled. Which became something else, which now is...
Alchemized, Yeah, that's mental.
I wonder how you'd feel if you were the original author of the series about fan fiction.
Well, Anne Rice fucking hated us. That was like my first introduction to Anne Rice was that I didn't know who she was. I just remember seeing a disclaimer on the front of the fanfiction.net website. Don't do Anne Rice fanfiction. She will sue you.
I wanted to circle back to Dinosaur, which I have watched only the first series of with my wife. My wife also really enjoyed it. She asked me to tell you that you're a genius, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Also, season 2 is like banging. Check it out.
At the same time, Ashley, she is married to John, so she's not a brilliant judge of character. So
really poor
That's
taste.
not
take
nice.
it with a pinch of salt.
He's not nice. He isn't nice. But it does what a really good sitcom should do. It kind of draws you in, and you kind of fall for the characters, even the slightly annoying characters. You end up, rooting for them all.
Now, me and John were having a little discussion about this, weren't we? About so watching Dinosaur, it takes a few episodes to kind of get into the swing of things, which I think we were saying that's completely normal for
Definitely.
a sitcom. That's kind of how it works. And I wonder if in this day and age of people's very short attention spans and wanting stuff instantly to be like, boom, I wonder how that works these days.
I mean, I'm such an old school soul that I was like, 2 seasons is a success for a sitcom.
Yeah.
Like Dinner Ladies, Fawlty Towers, The Young Ones.
Yeah.
2-season wonders. So I was like, 2 seasons is great. So I think British comedy has always kind of been kind of quick to get into the where you are and what you're doing. I think with Dinosaur it was slightly more complex just because it's the nature of handling autism and handling it sensitively, and also it was set in Scotland, but our production and the original writer and my co-writer were all English, so it was kind of like convincing people of what Scottishness was as well. It was mainly me just being like, no, honestly, this is a Scottish thing rather than an autism thing. The autism thing everybody was fine with.
Yeah, we do that. Do you really, everyone? Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
And it's kind of funny when you're in London and you're like writing something Scottish to realise there is such a massive cultural divide and there is such big differences in language and everything. But I think that it's hard to get anything made nowadays. I think that I felt so lucky just to get an opportunity because, like you say, people want stuff, they want it now, they want it to be exceptional, and there is no space for just like comfortable and nice. And I find a lot of television really hard because it is so high concept and it is really stressful, and like I love The Pit, but it's real hard to watch.
Can't watch that. My wife was watching that. I cannot watch that. I'm like, how can you watch this? This is literally stressful.
So hard.
It's not nice. Why are you watching this for fun?
I think if you watch The Pit and forget the content of what you're watching and just watch it as an enjoying exceptionally made television, it's great. Like I watch it and I go, what a great angle, what a great shot, what a great line. But then if I try and actually be in it, it's too stressful and I need to step back.
Yeah, I think I struggle with stuff like that when people have got like limbs hanging off and stuff. I think probably I get easily distracted by death and maiming.
By the horror of life.
Yeah.
But I think that was the thing, was there's so much stuff that's like hard-hitting horror of life, and we just wanted to make something comfy and warm and like big socks that you don't have to really worry about.
I always wonder that we do an awful lot of stuff on this podcast about the craft and plotting and what have you. And there's always this thing of that you should be writing a novel and you should be throwing the worst possible things at your protagonist.
Yeah, be cruel to your characters.
Should always be like, make it horrible. And I, as a reader, I often have a little bit of a problem. I think, does it have to be, or can it doesn't have to be the worst? Like, and I get that you need that conflict and stuff, but I don't know.
Well, I think also it's like taking your main character and instead of saying, I'm going to throw the worst things at you possible, I'm going to throw the worst things for that character.
Yeah.
And it's more like the hard things for Nina and Dinosaur aren't the hard things for everybody else in the world. Like one of her big struggles is she has to do 2 things in one day. And that's hard for me, but it's not hard for anybody else. So it's kind of
a dress fitting with a parrot.
Yeah.
For example.
Oh, that getting that parrot was my like coup d'etat. I wanted a parrot so badly in a shot because I just think you don't really get it anymore. But when I was a little girl, there was a lot of people who had birds in cages and businesses.
Yeah, you're right. That was a thing.
It
You're
was a
absolutely
thing.
right.
And it was so weird. And people were just like fine with there being birds in a restaurant. And I was like, I want to have that. Also, Kate Dickie, who's one of the best actresses to come out of Scotland, agreed to play the dress designer in that episode. And she was so good with a parrot, but it did bite her.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, but she tripped
It
on.
lashed out.
She tripped
Well
on.
done. How did you get involved with Dinosaur? Was it your kind of concept? Because it was a collaboration, wasn't it? Matilda Curtis was that was the other person?
So it's a very weird, backwards, and in no way instructional on how to become a TV writer.
These are our favourite kind of stories, though, so carry on.
Yeah.
It can't be replicated. It's done. It was lockdown. I was doing stand-up. I just decided to stop doing stand-up, and I was like, 2020, I was like, I'm taking the Fringe off for the first time since I was 11, and I was going to make such a fuss, and then COVID happened, and everybody got to take 2020 off of the Fringe, and I was fuming because I didn't get the attention that I wanted from not doing the Fringe. But I was doing a lot of Twitch streaming and trying to like make ends meet in the world of COVID, and my agent phoned me and she said there's a self-tape for a show that they're making about a woman with autism, and you have autism, so do the self-tape. They were looking for a 20-something autistic lady in England, and they got a 30-something autistic lady in Scotland, and we filmed the pilot. It was fine. It was filmed in COVID. I wasn't involved in the writing at all. It was very much, these are your lines,
Right.
say them as written, don't improvise, don't do anything, just do what's written. And I did what I was told. And nothing came of it for a couple of years. And then Sarah Hammond, our exec at Two Brothers, she phoned me and she said, oh, Hulu are interested in the show, but they want to kind of bring you on as a consultant. And I was like, oh, that'll be cool. And then I came in as a consultant. I consulted too hard. I got made a co-creator. I co-created too hard. I got made an exec producer. And then they just gave me episodes to write. And the thing is they thought they were hiring an actor, but I have a degree in film making and screenwriting.
Oh, amazing.
And I was like, this is my jam. Like, give me your stories, because it's writing fan fiction. You've already written this thing.
Of course it is, yeah.
Give it to me and let me write it now. And yeah, so it was a very backwards entry into writing, but I loved it, and I have a brain that can hold a lot of story at one time.
Yeah.
And I found that was really useful in a writer's room, that I didn't know that other people couldn't do that. So there was a lot of just like autism-y things where I could recall really specific tiny details that we'd discussed 7 weeks ago.
Right, that's really interesting. Yeah.
And also just being able to see the logistics and the bones of the story and how it impacted each bit just worked in my head. And so Two Brothers were really generous, and Matilda was really generous, and they let me come on, and then I became a TV writer. And that's how I did it.
But I love that little parallel of the fan fiction thing. That's so true. I'd never even thought of that. You were just
amazing,
just stealing someone else's idea and putting your own spin on it.
Pretty much.
Extrapolating, Tom. Extrapolating.
I don't care.
On the shoulders of giants and all that business.
I got hired after that to do this for other people, and that was the cool thing. Was other people had like an idea that somebody brought them but wasn't fleshed out, or they wanted it kind of different, and then I would just go into Zooms for like 2 weeks with TV companies and be like, what if you did this? Okay, bye.
That is the coolest job in the world, isn't it? Just like some kind of fixer that just comes in and goes, that's wrong, that's good, do this, that, see you later.
I am a woman. I don't get to be that straightforward. I have to couch it in flowery language and be like, wouldn't it be like a cool idea if somebody did this? And code switch.
But it's probably your idea. Could be your idea.
Yeah, 100%. You had this great idea 3 weeks ago that you don't remember, but I do because of my autism.
Yeah.
I thought it was really interesting what you were saying about you suspect that holding a lot of story in your head at one time is potentially an autistic thing. Do you know other autistic people who have that same thing, or you just kind of suspect it might be related to that?
I just kind of suspect, because I don't know a lot of other people with autism other than my dad, and we are very lonely and isolated, me and my dad, and we just stay with each other. But it was always commented how it was weird that, like, it's weirdly back to know a while, but when I was a kid, I used to have to my parents would leave me alone in the house when I was very young. They worked downstairs in a pub, and they'd asked me to tape ER for them because we had a VCR that didn't have a setter. So I used to tape episodes of ER for my parents off the TV. And I forgot all about this. My dad recently was rewatching ER, and I came in and I was like, oh, this is the episode where the teenagers got chlamydia. And I could remember whole episodes of ER.
That's amazing.
From when I was a child. And my dad was just like, that's so weird. And it's the same with like Law and Order. I could see an episode of Law and Order once, and then 15 years later, I can tell you who the murderer was from the opening scene.
You're like a story
and I don't
machine.
Know why.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's Tism. If it's something else, I don't want any more letters on my name. I'm happy with that. But yeah, it's just all up there. And I think it's because words and stories are like my specialist subject. They're all just in my head. But even when I'm writing, I think right now on my Word, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 tabs open that are all different projects that I just jump between.
And your mind's happy, you're like, you'll just click to the next one, crack on. See, I need at least half an hour to sort of just get myself back into the story and what's going on. And
it's a good way to stop. I struggle with that because if I leave stuff too long, I kind of lose my place, forget where I am. And then I can't really be bothered because you think I'm going to have to read it all again to start, and I can't be bothered reading it.
Oh, no.
And then you just put it off and off. Whereas with that, you've never really got that problem, have you? Because you kind of...
Don't you get a joy from, like, rereading what you've wrote and then...
There speaks someone who's never read any of my writing.
No! But I love leaving something for, like, a year and then coming back to it and then kind of surprising myself and being delighted by myself.
There is that angle to it. That's good. That is a good angle. But it just feels like a monumental task to go back in, and then you forget what you've written further on. So then you start going, "Oh, I'll put this little bit in here. That'll be funny." And then about 10 lines on, you go, "Oh no, I've already written that. I need to go back and turn that bit out now."
I get that. I'm also an over-explainer, and I have to have people tell me that not every single thing has to be described to the person reading. But won't somebody wonder where his leg is at this exact moment?
I think there is a bit of a fascinating diversion, I think, in people's minds of what they want out of reading. Some people want that really descriptive and want to know how tall everyone is and what colour their eyes are and what the hairstyle was and what they're wearing. As a reader, I'm like, I don't care what they just crack on with the story, please.
Yeah.
And then when you're reading an author, often they'll rely back on the same things. So you'll get lots of description of hair and very, very little else, or lots of description of what they're eating, as if that's some kind of... But doesn't tell you where they came from.
It's very... I grew up on Studio Ghibli, so it's very, like, food is big in fiction, like, and Hook, like, magic food is great to imagine, but I'm not a fan of hair or, like, what people look like, mainly because it's not something I pay attention to in real life.
Oh, maybe
I'm so bad at remembering people because unless you've got, like, a mad head, I'm not remembering you.
Yeah.
Like, if somebody's got, like, a massive head, then I'm like...
Like Tom. Someone like Tom, yeah.
I've got a massive head, so I think that's fine. But unless you've got fun hair or, like, a weird head or a funky tattoo on your face...
I really struggle if I'm watching a film and, say, 3 of the sort of secondary characters are blonde Hollywood-looking women, and I'm like, I don't know which one's which. Like, I've only seen you for a split second. You've all got very similar names.
Yeah.
I don't know if are you married? I don't know if you're doing that as a bad thing or a good thing. I'm lost.
I'm that way with Jeff Bridges, and there's another man, and I can't tell them apart, and I don't know whom is whom, and I don't even know what the man is. It's Jeff Bridges, and there's another man who I also call Jeff Bridges. It's the guy who's married to Goldie Hawn.
Isn't that Jeff Bridges? No, I'm kidding.
Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell.
It is him. That's who I think is Jeff Bridges. Also, he might have killed Walt Disney because the last thing Walt Disney ever wrote down was a misspelling of Kurt Russell's name on a bit of paper.
Good fact. I like that.
Fun fact.
The story goes that in '66, Walt Disney scrawled one final note. Kurt Russell was already in the flicks, and it was his name Disney wrote. The big story here is not that Disney died. It's not that he wrote down Kurt Russell's name. It's that Disney spelled Kurt with a fucking I. The man couldn't even spell, I mean. Oh, the shame. Walt couldn't spell, could be cruel as hell. Didn't treat his staff too well, smoked like a burning oil well. Then, of course, his cells rebelled. Lung tumor starts to swell. What I'm trying to spell is that he was a complicated fella. Did he go to hell despite pioneering one of humankind's most wonderful gifts? So many incredible animation stories that inspired a nation. So can we forgive? Walt couldn't spell but drew animals. Does that make him acceptable? It's quite difficult to tell. Should we shun him for his well-documented questionable views on women, for expelling homosexuals from the building? But they were different times, so it's probably okay.
Just coming back to your mom, she's obviously had a pretty massive influence on your career. I'm guessing both as kind of, I suppose, like a muse and a guide. What do you think's the kind of the biggest thing that she's passed on to you, if you're happy to talk about it?
Yeah, I think it's a weird one because we were in a very I don't want to say codependent, but like her career was my career. She was a stand-up comedian and she wasn't instantly famous and she didn't have representation and she didn't have an agent and she didn't really have friends in the comedy industry because she was a shouty wee working class Scottish woman and there wasn't really a space for that. A lot of the working class characters in Scotland were played by upper class people doing a parody of what working class was. So there wasn't a big space for women like her. So when she would do The Fringe, she didn't have a director. So I was 13 sitting in shows and giving notes and structuring her Fringe shows and then flying for her Fringe shows and then schmoozing with reviewers to try and get them to see her Fringe shows.
Wow.
And when I was 13 I was doing my own Fringe show.
Of course, yeah, I was going to ask you about that as well.
Yeah, so historically it was less like, oh, she's teaching me things and more we are learning how to do this together because she didn't have a platform, so I started her a podcast. She didn't have any video footage of her, so I bought a camera for my 18th birthday and filmed all her comedy shows and put them up on YouTube. And that was like a thing comedians didn't do at the time. So it was very strange. She had a Facebook with a lot of Facebook followers, so my dad and I would set up a system where every time it was somebody's birthday, who was our Facebook friend, we'd go wish them a happy birthday with a copy and paste message because it built up a good audience and people would come up to her in the street and be like, you wish me happy birthday, thank you so much. And I'm like, hey, my plan is coming together. So it was like we worked really, really, really hard to develop this thing. And when she passed away 2 years ago, a lot of people were like, oh, I'm so sorry for your loss. And it was this loss of my mum, but it was also a loss of this thing that I'd spent my entire life creating and working on and building. And it was very strange to have to like sort of take control of my own life and just not live to sort of work on my mum's career because when you are in this industry and it's something we don't talk about, but it does become like a family thing. The family has to be on board. You can't decide you're going to be a stand-up comedian if your husband and your kids aren't okay with that.
Right. Yeah,
it's not going to be sustainable. It has to be something that everybody goes, okay, this is our goal and we're all going to work towards it and we're all going to support you in this journey. We did that and it worked to an extent. And then it was all gone and I was like, oh no, what am I going to do?
And what did you do?
Wrote a telly show, won a couple of BAFTAs, wrote a Radio 4 show.
Right, now you're making it sound like your mum was dragging you back now and that you've done
better.
A
little bit. A little bit. I think she
really holding you back. And now look at me.
Your career pivot was to turn everything and do it yourself, yeah.
But it was because I had all of that learned stuff in my backpack because I had worked in hard environments and because I had been live streaming and I know how to edit and I know how to do sound and because I'd had to do it all for my mum, it was really easy. Actually, it was hard to transition to TV because you're not allowed to do it yourself there and you get shouted at if you touch the cameras. But I could have been a grip if somebody was not turning up, I could have held a boom. I could have done. It would have been hard to do the acting and hold a boom at the same time, but I would have worked it out.
I had a question for you before, it just popped into my head. Oh, it was about dinosaur. It was a stupid little thing. There's this lovely moment in the Hindu episode when Nina and Lee are walking through the streets eating chips, and they're talking about moving on. They're talking about where they might end up next. And this flock of birds flies over their heads. And it's just like the most incredible, like magical moment. I was wondering, presumably that was just one of those incredible sort of serendipitous things that happens, and then you sort of make something of it later. Did you go to Rothesay especially because you knew that the birds flew down the streets?
No, I went to Rothesay because when I was a teenager, that's where all of my uncles who were criminals moved to, and I worked in my uncle's pub there. So I went back there because I love that place.
You had a fondness.
Yeah, it's a second home, and it was very sweet to get to go there. And I had told a lot of the cast stories about the people there, specifically the man who banned me from the arcade because I was too good at the claw machine. And we walked into the bar that was our base of operation for that day, and the manager of the bar was the manager from the arcade.
Oh, amazing.
And he was like, "I barred you," and I was just like, "See? It's true." But the bird flying thing, it was, and I'm so glad you noticed it. It was, and it just happened, and me and Lauren were walking down the street, and we just kept, we turned and we looked in unison.
That's the thing. It's like you both look
kismet.
up and there's this moment. It's just incredible. And it's the metaphor for that particular moment. It's what you were specifically talking about. It's just incredible.
I know. And as soon as Niamh called cut, it was like, and the Paul, our focus pillar, everybody was like going through the footage like, can this be used? Can this be used? Because it was so perfect and so magical. And I think there is actually a little reflection somewhere in it that technically means it shouldn't have been used, but it was too special because it was just one of those moments where nature was like, here is a gift. And also that time we were filming in Rothesay, the sun was out so beautifully. I've never seen that. I've never seen Butte look so beautiful in my life. And it was like the sky had decided we're going to give you good light, and it was just magic.
It's like, I think a lot of great moments in art can come from things like that, just like little mistakes or unexpected outcomes. Like in music and things like that, you play a wrong note, it sounds amazing, or I think it's lovely. But it's noticing that it's happened and going, we're keeping that. That's great. Love that.
But I also love like when actors, and this is my only time working with actors, and it's been a learning curve certainly because I'm used to working with comedians who are a very different kettle of fish. But having people like Lauren who plays Lee,
he is
an
phenomenal.
Exceptional actor and is in so much cool stuff that like his little bit in Bridgerton, he's only in it a little bit, but he's a scene stealer. Like I always see memes of him and nobody else. Maybe that's my algorithm.
Could be.
But he's so talented and so funny.
He really is.
He'll come up with stuff and he'll say, like, there's a story in season 1 where he talks about getting his first pube. And that's a true story. That was a story he told me, and I was like, that needs to be in it. That's too beautiful not to be in it. And getting to work with somebody like that who will kind of bounce ideas off you and be like, what if we did this? What if we did that? And then feeling in sync with them so that when the birds flew over and we looked up and we both knew we're going to continue this scene, and there was nothing icky about it.
Yeah, do we need to start again?
It's such a special treat. And I love when actors have like comedy bones. Not necessarily funny, but just have comedy bones to have an instinct to do something that might be funnier than you write. And I'm always for that. I'm always for this is funnier, therefore do it, as opposed to this is funnier, that's hurt my feelings.
So what you working on next, Ashley? What's the next thing?
So I've got 3 things in development, which I'm not allowed to talk about.
I should have known from your story about your tabs on your writing that there'd be more than one thing. Shouldn't have asked about one thing. What a multitude of things have you got going on? One's
a drama, one's a crime thing, one's a kind of mockumentary comedy thing. I'm really into the world of competitive chess fandom right now.
Of course. Yeah.
I've been trying to get a lot of TV people on board. This is my Hail Mary. This is my thing. I want to make a show about the world of chess because I think it is so funny. I don't know if you're into it. I don't know if you've seen any of the drama.
Trying to imagine how it's funny, but anything can be funny, can't it?
It's not even anything can be funny. There was like a genuine scandal 2 years ago where one chess player was accused of cheating by putting electrodes up his butt that vibrated.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I forgot about that. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, you're right. It's brilliant.
Meanwhile, another one was banned because he wore jeans instead of pressed trousers. So it's a really fun place and I'm deep into that. I've been doing adapting foreign stuff, which is really fun because it's both fan fiction-y and also you get to watch something in a different language and see a different. I've been watching a lot of Scandi stuff and their sense of humour is very Scottish.
Right.
Which has been a fun... They were also really naughty, which I like.
What's the similarity then, would you say, the Scandi Scottish thing?
A bluntness in their comedy that is kind of... There's a kind of Englishy sense of humour, which is talking around a thing. And then there's a Celtic sense of humour, which is talking about the thing.
Right.
And both are funny and both are valid, but they're different approaches to whatever the thing is.
Yeah, yeah.
And so the Scandis are more like point and say what that is in a funny way rather than don't look at it and try and describe it in a roundabout way, which to me classifies as more Englishy. Or Southerny, not English, Southerny.
Yeah.
So, doing that. And I've got a book in the pipes.
That sounds painful.
Yes, need more fibre.
Yeah. What kind of book?
Oh, it's autobiographical because if I want to get into publishing, that was the advice I was given. The first step: get an autobiography out the way, and then show them you can write, and then they'll let you write your heated rivalry, but set in amongst the Glasgow Old Firm between a Celtic player and a Rangers player who secretly have sex.
I want to come back around to your stand-up show. At the Edinburgh Fringe when you were 13.
Yeah.
What were you doing when you were 13? Tell us about that. What do you remember most about it?
I remember I was very, very young, and weirdly, this is a lot of what I've like blacked out of my memory, which I think is telling of the Edinburgh Fringe, that I can remember like my parents' pub getting raided by the police and being held at gunpoint, but I don't remember that Edinburgh Fringe when I was 13 because it was a bit too traumatic.
Yeah. Yeah, the brain has a way of doing that.
Yeah. I remember Ian Lee was a guest on my show and I was 13 and he made a 69 joke and everybody laughed, and then I stared at him and went, no, explain why it's funny, and made him deeply uncomfortable.
Which in its own way is a really fun thing to do. Super
fun. That was my whole shtick, was just being like, no, explain it. And then making people explain the dirty things they'd said to a 13-year-old. I remember I didn't love doing stand-up comedy. My mum was a stand-up comedian. She was an open spot, and I was 13 and I thought, this is easy, I can do this. And it was a kind of horrible thing to do to my mum because I was 13 and she was an adult woman trying to do a job, and I became like a novelty act who got booked on like the Improv Club and had a very, I was doing lineups for like Oma Jalili and Roland Rivron, and she was doing gong shows in pubs in Glasgow.
Oh, man.
But yeah, it was a weird, funny experience. I did it from 11 until I was like 14.
You did it even back when you were 11?
Yeah, I didn't do the Fringe till I was 13, but I was doing stand-up from 11.
Yeah, God, no, you don't want to start things too early, Ashley, do you? You know, you're not going to do the Fringe at 11. Need to wait till you're 13.
Need to wait till you hit those teen years or you're not able to cope with
definitely.
the hard-paced life.
Yeah, till you've got all the hormones going round and it's just too much to handle. So you bottle it up and ignore it for the rest of your life. That's when you want to do
100%.
it. Yeah.
So then my parents kind of, when I was 14, got this opportunity to send me away to London to be a child star, and they said no.
Always ends well, doesn't it? Being a child star.
Yeah, essentially. Weirdly ties back to Rossi. There's a child singer from like the 60s, 70s called Lena Zavaroni who grew up in Rossi, who's like a sort of famous, sad, tragic Scottish figure who became like on Star Search, was a singer, and then died really tragically, and it was really sad and it wasn't nice for her. But I just remember my dad being like, never forget Lena Zavaroni, we're not sending her away, this can't happen. And yeah, my parents said no and made me be normal again.
Good. I'm glad.
And then I started writing fan fiction, so I don't know if it turned out for the best or the worst.
What was the opportunity to become a child star then? What would that entail? What was the crack with that? Theatre school?
A special stage school where I'd be living with a host family and doing like learning to talk in that stage school voice that every child has.
I was going to say, just think they could have knocked that Scottish accent off you. You could have been pouncing around on stage like nobody's
that
business.
voice that every kid actor has in Harry Potter, where it's like, it's the Nimbus 2000, it's the fastest broom yet. That voice.
I'm over-enunciating every single word.
And everything's at the same level of intensity. Oh no, Mum's back. What's the dog doing? It's all just so... And I also didn't want to be that. Like, I hated that in kids' films growing up. So yeah, it wasn't a big decision of like, my parents stole this dream away from me. It was like, oh cool, back to the Playmobiles and the weird World War II films then.
Well, what a lovely little chat.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thoroughly enjoyed that.
Yeah, thanks so much. Really appreciate that.
And good luck with all the millions of tabs open.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Take care.
So, Ashley Storrie there.
That was a good chat, wasn't it?
Hearing that again makes me want to be friends with her. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's just fascinating, brilliant person and very grounded.
Massively. Well, you're going to be, aren't you, when you're dragged into the Edinburgh Festival as a child.
Seriously.
And then forced to perform like some kind of, 1800 circus act.
The few sort of 11 to 13-year-olds that I know, I cannot imagine how you could do a good job of stand-up. I mean, it's astonishing.
Yeah, how you could hold that, how you could have the capacity to...
Amazing.
Yeah, crazy.
But yeah, also do check out Dinosaur. I can massively recommend it. It's available on BBC iPlayer. And you've got 2 whole series of it. You lucky people. Do you know what, Tommy? The other thing I was thinking is that we should do an ep on fan fiction.
We should really, shouldn't we? It'd be interesting to find, because I don't really get it or understand it to some extent. It'd be good to have a little... Are we I was going to say delve. We're not allowed to say delve anymore. We established that at the start of the show. Damn it. I don't like deep dive. I don't like it when people say that. I don't know why. I hate it when they're, we're going to have a deep dive into...
What can we say?
We have a shallow paddle? We'll have a shallow paddle.
Let's have a dip.
Into the world of fanfic.
Yeah. I've been doing a bit of reading about it, and it is a very fascinating little corner of writing.
Feels like sort of the Wild West of writing.
Yes.
Like there's,
It's like unpoliced.
Yeah, it's like there's no rules, and we'll just copy what we want, and we'll just go where we want, and we'll do what we want with these characters. It's like kind of kidnap them and doing what you like with them.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things that I think some people kind of sneer at a bit. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like it's not real art because it's derivative.
There's a lot of stuff like that, though, isn't there?
Yeah, but you think about the millions of people who are massively into it. It's like, well, it can't be that bad.
I mean, some people hate stuff that is massively popular and see it as detracts from the quality. It can't be good if it's mass appeal. But there's different dimensions to stuff. There's different angles of stuff.
Anyway, I think we should probably stop talking about it because we might just say everything about it that we're going to say.
Yeah, it's like the entire episode about fanfic is happening right now.
We just compressed it into 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So we might do that. That would be quite fun, I think. Is that it for today? Or have we got anything else?
It's not quite it for today, John, because you know what we've always got time for, don't you?
It's time for hype writer, the right type of acclaim we all need occasionally, because you're a mighty fighter, the type who lights up the writing world with your beautiful words.
So this week we've got Jeffrey G.N. Harrison, a long-time suffering listener of the show. Thank you, Jeff, for your longevity of listenership. And he sent us, he first sent us something. We were like, Jeff, no, that's too long. And we sent it right back to him, gave his hands a little slap and said, have you got anything shorter? And he went, actually, yeah, I have. And this originally was apparently a little bit too long, and he's had a little bit of an edit down. And, let's hear what he said about it.
The idea for Dust was one of those typical 3 a.m. write it down or forget it moments. I put as much as I could into a note on my phone and then promptly forgot it existed. I write across a few genres, but I've always had that pull towards sci-fi. I love the what ifs. Being picked for Hype Writer by Tom and John was literally the highlight of the week for me. I'm so happy the Failing Writers guys picked mine. Hope you enjoy it.
Dust by Jeffrey G.N. Harrison. Everything was covered in the same orange dust. Shizad and his kin had known nothing other than the dust for as long as clan memory existed. During waking time and sometimes during the dark time when returning from hunting, he would have to contend with it and all its denizens. His hovel, little more than a lean-to stacked up against the cliff wall like the homes of the others of his clan, kept most of the dust out. Usually the dust only came in when they opened the door to leave or return home. Other times was when the dust blew in from the riverside during storms that filled the skies. Shizad knew the storms were getting worse and happening more often. Each storm damaged his home a little more, and each time he needed to seek out the sticky black glue. It was always buried in the far fields and retrieving it was risky. Garabeasts roamed those fields and they favoured fresh meat. The black glue was used to coat the outside of their homes, leaving them sticky. Even when small winds blew the dust around, the black glue would catch it and hold onto it, making the walls of their lean-to homes harder, until the next big storm. At sleep time, Shizad would dream of a wondrous city. It gleamed and shone under a bright orange light giver in a clear blue sky. Shizad had never seen the colour blue, or had any way to describe it outside of stories from the elders. Elder Dresht, now Dust himself, told stories about clear skies when Shizad was a youngling. He didn't believe the stories, but he longed to see those skies himself. Shizad was sleeping after a long hunt when his wife Laura burst into their home. "Shizad, wake! Rem seeks you," Laura said. Rem, the oldest of the elders, was respected by everyone. Quickly, Shizad put on his shoes and grabbed his hunting knife before following his frantic wife. "Laura, give me time." "Rem says we have no time," Laura said. They rushed to Rem's hovel, their cloaks held against the wind and the dust it carried. This storm was ferocious. Shizad thought he heard a garabeast howling in the wind too, maybe more than one. This was the closest to the river he'd ever heard them. Inside Rem's cramped hovel, where the air was thick with the dust, Rem sat huddled by a small, light stone. Shizad also saw elders Somak and Treth heatedly discussing the storm. "Shizad," began Rem, immediately ignoring the others and stood to speak. "You're our best hunter, and we need you to hunt now." Shizad looked between everyone. Treth looked furiously at Rem, but stayed silent, knowing his place. Somak smiled gently. Rem's face was emotionless. "This storm will get worse and may not end. We need someone to go beyond the far fields to make them stop," Rem said. "How will a hunt do that?" Shizad asked. Rem pulled a crystal from under her cloak. It was impossibly smooth, unlike the cliffs or the ground. "This crystal will stop the storms." Shizad didn't understand. "Rem, it's not safe," Treth exclaimed. "Beyond the far fields is dead," Laura said. "I found it amongst Drael's things after we laid him in the deep earth," Rem said. "He kept it hidden, perhaps in fear, perhaps a mercy. It is a key, Shizad. Not for a door, for the sky." Shizad reached out, his fingers hovering over the cool surface. "The dream," he breathed. "The blue I see. It's in here, isn't it?" "This will light the spire Drael spoke of," Rem replied. Her eyes held a terrifying weight. "It has been silent for generations. Once awake, every garabeast within leagues will know. Drael knew. He chose safety in the dust over a gamble for hope." She held out the crystal to Shizad. "I am too old to run, and the others are too afraid, but you," she paused, "you have been dreaming of it your whole life." Shizad knew what this meant, but nodded, just the same. "I will go." "No," Laura said, her voice cracked. Tears were already forming around her eyes. Shizad pulled her into an embrace. "I must. If not this one," he patted her growing belly, "will have no life." Laura was sobbing now. Shizad pulled away, rested his forehead against Laura's and then turned back to Rem. The crystal glowed slightly, as if in anticipation. Shazad took it and left without another word. Outside, the wind was stronger. The dust bit into his face. From downriver came growls. He ran upriver towards the hunting fields and the far fields beyond. The dust made it hard to breathe, but still he ran. His cloak was pulled around his mouth, but it didn't keep all the dust out. It stung his eyes, but still he ran. The howls were louder. Garabees were hunting him now. He knew, but still he ran. His lungs burned and his legs felt as if they could not continue. At the far fields, he could smell the musk of Garabees on the wind. The nearby growls meant more mouths to eat him if he stopped. Beyond the far fields, dust shrouded everything, including his goal. With the crystal in his hand, he squinted through the dust. A new noise alerted him. It repeated. Not a growl. It was melodic. Hope flared. The sound brought him to a tall spire reaching high into the dust above. The growling surrounded him. His grasping hands found a smooth hole. Shazad knew this was where the crystal went. He pushed it in. With a whir, the spire pulsed, pushing him and the dust away. It took effort to stand still. Garabees were no longer growling, but now he could see there were 5 of them. The spire pulsed stronger. The sky split, and for the first time ever, Shazad saw blue skies.
So what did you think of that, Tommy?
Do you know what? I did think of that, and I doubt it is, but I really hope in my heart of heart it is that it's basically just a love letter to the English spring.
Oh, I like
that. Seasonal nature.
That's nice.
You know that idea? You know when you get to sort of February, March, and there's finally a little bit of blue sky.
You haven't seen the sun for...
And everyone's like, oh, what's that thing up in the sky? What's that big yellow thing? I haven't seen that. And the nights suddenly get long. There's like that bit where it just suddenly everything gets a bit brighter and the leaves start coming out and that proper springness of it. I thought that story was actually like a really good metaphor.
Yeah. The hope of spring.
The dust storm is the winter, is the oppressive nature of that kind of cold and drizzle and snow and stuff. And then you kind of burst through. You kind of find this. You put the crystal in, and all of a sudden,
I like that.
Daffodils
Tommy.
are up and the leaves are on the trees. Yeah,
it's a lot less pretentious than my interpretation as well.
Oh, go on. What have you got? What have you got?
I thought my initial thought was this is a story for our times. This is a metaphor for the confusing and obfuscating times that we live in. It feels like this is set in a sort of future world, doesn't it? There are references to there having been clear skies in the past. And I thought maybe the dust is like the way the media can misrepresent, like kind of hold us in blindness. We're completely at the mercy of like whatever tech bros or rich media owners for our information. Like we can't see further than our own nose, or at least, further than our smartphone screens. And I thought maybe that's it. It's a message about the times we live in.
I thought it was quite good in how Jeff built up. It's not a long time, but you got a real feel for the world, didn't you? Without any stupid, in-depth over description of anything, you got a real feel for the society. It was almost like a post-apocalyptic kind of society, or very prehistorical in its structure of society. It's like kind of being reborn and kind of coming up again, or possibly on an entirely different planet. But yeah,
I was going to say that how snappy his world building was, and you were kind of placed in this, and it was such a sort of weird but brilliant idea, the black glue they had to sort of mine.
Yeah. I thought that was quite good at the start, how it set it was almost like this is your daily life setup. Like it talks about and kind of hitting the beats of a story, where it's like starts off with a normal and then there's an inciting incident sort of thing.
Yeah.
And there was that kind of jarring bit about a third of the way through where it's like, so this is how we go about our daily life. Oh, right, hold a minute, you got to go and see the boss lady.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, what's going on? Something big's happened, you're the guy.
Yeah.
And then it's turned into this little mini hero story.
Yeah.
And then you were in that bit with those massive, I see them
being
like
chased.
massive oversized wildebeest kind of things.
Whatever they are, but with big teeth.
Yeah, like really mean buggers.
Here's a great line, Tommy.
Yeah.
Shazad had never seen the colour blue or had any way to describe it outside of stories from the elders. Elder Dresht, now Dust himself, told stories about clear skies. That's nice, isn't it? That's a lovely bit of writing, very evocative, but also bringing in the idea of dust as death. I thought they're lovely little touches.
Very good little analogy, wasn't it?
Nice.
Good circular bit of thought there, yeah. No, I enjoyed that, Jeff. Thank you for sending it in.
Yeah, it's very nice. And how rare it is to read a story about hope, because we kind of need some stories with a bit of hope in them.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I just read the wrong stories, but they do sometimes end on a bit of a downer, don't they?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
a short story. But every now and then, nice to have a bit of light at the end of the tunnel. So thank you, Jeff, for bringing us a bit of optimism.
Yeah.
That was lovely.
Excellent stuff. Excellent. So if you fancy getting your hands on some of our invaluable feedback, but just getting your story out there, something you're proud of, something you've written that maybe never quite got published or nearly did, or you just found it in a drawer from years ago and you think, oh, bloody hell, that was good actually. Wouldn't mind sharing that.
Yeah, and it can be anything.
Yeah, it can be absolutely anything. And if it's less than 1,000 words, so it's not too long for us, Jeff, like your first one, then yeah, send it in. We'd love to get it on and have a little chat about it and share it with people.
We really blummin' would. Okay, I think we're done. Any last things, Tommy? Any last thoughts?
No, not really. No, nothing at all. Nothing at all. I was still thinking about the AI stuff. It's really annoying me.
I mean, I'm not against all aspects of AI.
I'd like it to like solve cancer and stuff and things like that. That's great.
Yeah,
I love that.
That's quite good. Yeah. It's the sort of large language model wholesale stealing of people's intellectual property that's more of the issue, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. I mean, I did wonder whether we should do an episode where we generate an AI book and see how easy or not it is to actually sell it.
Yeah.
Kind of go behind the other side of it.
That might upset a few people.
Yeah. Don't know.
But I mean, if we make money out of it, that's the main thing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because we could pretend it's like some in-depth journalistic kind of thing, but it's a way of doing
really,
it, and with full.
It's just a money-making.
Yeah, but we've got full deniability. That's the thing. After that, haven't we?
Yeah, that's so clever,
Oh
Tommy.
No! It wasn't for that. We weren't trying to make money. We were trying to uncover it.
Well, what can we leave our listeners with that won't mean that they'll walk away depressed?
It's not really something we've ever done, that is it? I don't know how we'd go about that.
No, that is.
I assume the general format for our episodes is start off brightly, give them some hope, and like tease them on with something. But by the end,
everyone's just a little bit more depressed than they were before.
It is rubbish. It is rubbish after all. Yeah.
We do try our best. Yeah. Well, hopefully, despite that, you will join us next episode. If you did enjoy listening to us, even though you're mildly depressed now, please do hit the follow button. Maybe you might want to say something nice about us on social media. That always helps. And we do have a tendency to send people merch if they're nice about us as well, don't we, Tommy? So
we do, yeah. It's like bribery, but we wait until we do the bribery after.
Yeah,
it's more efficient that way. More efficient.
Lovely. All right. Well, peckers up, everyone.
It'll be all right in the end.
Keep calm. Carry on.
It'll be fine. Yeah. Wasn't that convincing? That was it. Well,
bye.
Stick with it.
Hello.
Where's everybody gone?